Hello, Global Stars. Welcome to this Python full course part 10. In this part 10 of our Python full course, we are going to be understanding all about the Python Lambda functions. So we are going to learn how to write and use anonymous functions in Python. Now, what is this Python Lambda function? We know we already first saw the functions in Python. Now this is a different type of function. So the Python Lambda functions are the anonymous functions, which means that this function is without a name. So as we already know how to define a function in Python, we use the def keyword in order to use to define the function. That is a normal function when we are writing in Python. Similarly, we also use the lambda keyword to define an anonymous function in Python. So we are going to say a lambda function can take any number of arguments, but can only have one expression that we are going to see when we are working practically. So the syntax of this is that we are going to have the lambda argument and then followed by a colon, and then we have the expression, and the expression is executed and the result is returned. So before we continue to see how to work with it practically, guys, if you have been here with us rocking from the beginning, you're highly welcome. To our returning subscribers, you're highly welcome. And if you're new and you're stumbling on this channel for your first time, please, with all the returning subscribers, remember when you're watching this video, do click the like button, and then click also the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed to this channel. And when you click the subscribe button, don't forget to hit the notification bell, to get notified whenever we upload new videos, because we are going to be working a lot. There are a lot of projects that are coming up for you to know how to really code in Python, to develop things, to build your own applications. So please, you can share on all your social media platforms. You can share with your friends, your brothers, your sisters, your classmates, to be able to enjoy this knowledge to build a career in this 2025. Watch to the end, because when you watch to the end, there are exciting questions and answers that we have at the end that are bonus for you to be able to understand more about this particular Python Lambda function. So with that being said, let's continue to pick off to see how we work with it practically. So now, it's a variable that I've just given. This is a variable that is holding a string here, and this string is written in small letters. So what we want to do, we want to go to use this anonymous function, because we say a lambda function is an anonymous. We want to define anonymous functions. So now I'm just giving a variable name here. I'm naming this particular string. This particular variable is holding the string here, Python full course. So the name variable, I said name one is just a name. This is a variable name. It can be anything. Name one is equals to Python full course. What is the aim of what we want to do? I want to be able to, what is I want to do? I want to be able to do what? To be able to convert this particular string Python full course that is in small letters. I want to be able to convert it. So in order to do that, I'm using the anonymous function, which is a lambda. And with this lambda, I'm just giving the lambda function name, which is the argument, that is it from. So the colon, as I said, remember the syntax. And then what is the expression we want to do? The expression, because you can have as many arguments, but can have only one expression. So the expression I want to do here is that I want to convert this particular function to this particular string that I'm having here, this Python full course. We want to be able to convert it to uppercase. So we say dot upper. So the upper function, I'm going to use the upper function. And then the next thing we are going to do is to print. And what is it we are printing? We have to print this name2, the name2 that is holding this name2, which is the lambda function, and we are passing the argument to it. What is that we are passing? We're passing the name1 to it. The name1, so that it should be able to, since the lambda function, what is that we want to do? We are simply printing this particular string in an case letter. Get it? With this. So if I run this particular piece of code, you see Python full course in capital letters. So you see, using this anonymous function, that is the lambda function, is when you are dealing with an anonymous function, as I explained. So if you didn't understand well, go back to the beginning, how I was explaining, to understand more. So we are going to see more cases, to understand. Hope this is clear. So one thing you need to understand here is that the code defines a lambda function. It defines this particular code, it defines the lambda function, which is the lambda function, which is name what? Name2, which I've named it as name2. That takes a string. You get it? It takes a string as its argument. That is what it does. It takes a string as its argument, and it converts that string to an uppercase using this dot upper function. You get it? Using the upper function method. So it then applies this lambda function to that string, which is Python full course. And then it prints the result. It now prints this particular result for us. So we know very well that the lambda is a keyword. The lambda is a keyword that we know here, and then the argument that it takes, because the form, we know the syntax of this. What is the syntax as I explained? The syntax of this is what? Lambda, the lambda, and then it gives the argument, lambda, and then the argument, and then we have the colon, and then we have the expression. That is syntax. The lambda, the argument, this is it, the lambda, the argument, and then the colon, and then the expression means what we want it to do. So the argument is just separated by, any parentheses, like any regular expression. And then the expression is just a single expression that is evaluated to give a result. You get to give a return, like what we are having here. Because now it's going to evaluate this particular string, it's going to convert it to uppercase. Okay, that is just what it is all about, for us to be able to understand how it works. Okay, now what we are going to see is that we are going to see another example. There's an example that I want us to do for us to be able to check if a given number is positive, negative, or a zero number. So in this second example, we are going to be checking if a particular number is a positive number, a negative number, or a zero. We're going to be checking this number using our lambda function. That is what we want to do. And one thing we need to understand here, by checking it means you're going to be using some condition. We know about conditional statements, right? The if statement, if else, we are going to be working with that. So I'm just going to define the variable. Let's say I'm going to define the variable. That variable, I'm going to give that variable as num. So that num variable, what is it which is equals to is holding the lambda function. We know the formula, the syntax for lambda. So lambda, and then I'm giving the argument. Let's say I give the argument as x. I'm just giving x as the variable. The next thing is a colon, isn't it? Colon. Then I'm going to pass now what? Pass now whatever the expression I want to give. And this expression is now going to tell me how it's going to be checking the condition. So now I'm going to say, so for positive, that's a positive. I'm saying, then the next thing I'm saying is that if x is greater than 0, then therefore means that number is positive. Else, if it is negative, then if it is negative, we know that what? If x is less than 0. If x is less than 0, means it's negative, and then else. What is the want to do? We want to check if a number is positive, negative, or 0. Now, for num, so I'm just holding the num variable that is holding this particular lambda function. So the lambda, I say lambda x, I say positive. If it returns positive, means that if x is greater than 0, then the number is positive. Means the particular number that we are given, if the number is greater than 0, that is positive. If the number is negative, is when the number is less than 0, because x represents the particular number that we are given. Else, if it is neither negative nor positive, then it should be 0, isn't it? We know that, right? So now let's try to now print now the particular numbers that we want to give. Now, what is it that we want to give? We say what? Print the first one. I'm saying that print num. I'm saying num, the first one, I'm giving a positive number. Let's say I give 7. That's a positive number. And then I'm printing. Now I'm going to take also for the negative num. Let's see the number the num is having that we are passing to the num. I'm going to give it as -5. Then the third option that we are going to give, let's say I'm going to give it as 0. Because obviously these are the options that we chose, right? So I'm going to give it as 0. Because if it is neither positive nor negative, then it should be a 0 digit, right? So let's run it and see. You see, the first one is telling us that it is positive. It's giving us that it is positive. Why? Because we say if x is greater than 0, then it should return us. What is it going to return from that expression? It's going to return a that it is positive. And the other one say when we print, you say num is greater than is -5. Means that what? It means x. If num is -5, means that x is what? It means x is less than 0, isn't it? Otherwise, if neither of them, neither greater than less than, then therefore if it is 0, then means that it is a 0 number, isn't it? Good. Then therefore it is 0. Hope this is clear. Let's continue to see more important. So the next one we are going to be seeing is the function. We are going to be seeing how we can go to use the lambda function to check if a number is even or odd. You get it? For us to know if a number is even or odd. So I'm just going to declare a variable here that is called check, because I want to be able to check if this number is even or odd. So it's just a check, not a check function. So check I'm just defining either is holding the particular lambda function. So with the lambda function that we are holding and is having x, so x is just going to be that input. So we are going to check if the number is even or odd. That is the first thing we are going to do. So the first one we are going to see is if, because it's going to take an input that is x, the argument that is x, that is the number. So if it is even, means that if it is even, then it should be what? We know how it is. We're going to use the conditional statement. Say if what? If the x modulus of 2, right? If x modulus of 2 is what? Is equal to what? 0. If the x modulus of 2 is equal to 0, means it's even. Means that what? If you divide x by 2 and it gives you a remainder of 0, it means that it is an even number. Otherwise, if it's not an even number, then it should obviously be what? Else it should be number, isn't it? If it's not an even, there's no two way. It should be an odd number, isn't it? Now let's take this thing. Now let's print now the number for us to take. So means I say print. Now we are going to pass in a print the check. So if I say check of what? If I say check of, I'm passing it now. Check of 4. Let's say check of check of 8. Because check of 8, we have to check if it's an even number and also if it's an odd number. So I'm just going to take two. Oh, sorry. I'm going to just take two cases. So I'm just going to print. Now let's take check. Checking of what? Let's say check of 9. So I'm taking two numbers. So now, these two numbers I'm taking because it has to return even if true. If that lambda function checks, if it checks if a number is divisible by 2 and the result it gives is 0, it means that that is even number, means it is going to return to us what? Is going to return to us an even number. Is going to return to us even. Otherwise, if it's not an even number, automatically it's an odd number, isn't it? That is just what it's going to be. So we are just going to run this. So this approach is useful for labeling or categorizing values based on simple condition. That is how this approach is just being useful. So let's run it and see. You see, the first one is even, the second one is odd because 8 is an even number and 9 is an odd number. Because 8 divisible by 2, the remainder is 0. But when it's 9 divisible by 2, the remainder is a non-zero digit, isn't it? We know very well that the remainder is 1. So that is how it is. We use it to be able to calculate to know if a number is even or odd. So we can also work with in a situation like lambda will multiply a particular statement. The lambda function do not allow multiple statements. That is one thing you should understand. However, we can create two lambda functions and then call the other lambda function as a parameter to the first function. You get it? That is how we can be able to do it. So the next example we are going to be seeing to see how we can use this lambda function, anonymous function, is to perform an addition and multiplication in a single line. Means that we want to take a single line to be able to perform both addition and multiplication. So now I'm just going to define a variable. Let's say I'm going to define a variable. Let's say calculate. That's a variable I'm defining that is going to be holding the lambda function. So lambda, I'm just going to take the variables, take it two variables, x and y. I'm taking x and y, this x and y variable. I'm just taking capital letters. It can be small letters and capital. Okay, let me just use small letters because most of the times it's always good to just use, it's easy for you to go or you make mistake. So now these are the two variables we have taken, x and y. That means that these are the two numbers that we are going to be having. So what is that we want to do? The expression we are passing is, we want to pass this expression in the single line. Means we want to do addition and multiplication in a single line. So I say x plus y, that's the first one. And then the next one is x multiplied by y. These are the things that we are having. So this is the expression that we have given here, and this is what we want to do. We want to be able to calculate. Now we want to be able to get that result, a particular result, right? So I'm just going to do what to. Let's say I'm taking a result variable. This result variable is going to be holding this, the calculation, whatever we are given for it to be able to calculate the two numbers that we want to give, for it to be able to give. Let's say I'm having 4 and 5. The two numbers are 4 and 5. Let me put it in this format. It means x is 4 and y is 5. These are the two. And then we have to print the result, isn't it? We have to print this result variable, because the result variable is the one that is holding these two. So let's run this piece of code and see how it gives. You see, we are going to have it here. What is it that we are having here? If you look at it very well, the addition of sum of 4 and 5 is 9. And then the multiplication of 4 and 5 is 20. So can you see? This is how we can be able to use our lambda function to be able to. So the lambda function performs both the addition and the multiplication and returns a tuple with both what? Result. You get it? It is a tuple, right? We know what is tuple in the round bracket, right? It returns a tuple with both the results. So this is useful for scenarios where multiple calculation needs to be performed and returned together. Then this is very good for that. So you see the lambda function can be used along with built-in functions like what? Like the filter function, the map function, and the reduce function. So the filter function in Python takes what? It takes in the function and it lists the as argument. And this offers what? It offers an elegant way to filter out what? All the elements of a sequence. So the sequence is for which we can be able to work to understand whether the function returns is true or not. You get it? These are scenarios in which you can be able to use this. If this is clear, let's move forward. So the next one we are having here is how to filter an even number from a list using the lambda function to filter even number from a list. So let's say I'm just going to define a list here. I'm just going to define a list here. Let's say I'm going to give a number. So the num variable that I'm just going to be is just going to be holding a particular list. A list I'm just going to give random numbers inside, and then I'm going to go to how we can be able to filter. You get it? We know our list is always in a square bracket, right? So let's say I'm giving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just giving one, let's say 1 to 7. This is a number in the list. Now, what is the one to do? Want to be able to filter all the even numbers in this particular list. So I'm defining a variable here even. So I'm just defining a variable that is even here. And this even variable, I want to be able to filter. What is the one to do? I want to be able to filter. I want to filter what this variable is going to be holding the lambda function, because we want to filter this particular lambda function, and the number we are going to be passing here, the x, which you know is just the argument that we are going to be using, isn't it? Now let's give the expression. The expression that what is x modulo of 2, because even number should be x, should be, if we're having that number that you're given modulo of 2, then if it gives us if it gives us equals to 0, then therefore means that it's an even number, isn't it? Then we should be able to what? Print that particular num variable. We should be able to print the particular num, isn't it? That is how you're supposed to give, right? So now, what should we print? We should be able to print if we're going to print what? We're going to print that particular list, the list which is what? And that list which is holding what? The even, right? Which is holding all the even numbers that we are having there. I'm going to repeat it again. The lambda function checks if a number is even when it does what? You see, it's going to check if the particular number that we are giving the argument is even by what? Dividing that number by 2. If the remainder is 0, then it knows that particular number is even, and then it's going to use the filter function. You see, that's why I pass it in this filter function. I passed it here. So it is going to filter it, that particular number, it filters it and applies this condition to each element in that particular in this particular num variable. Because this num variable is holding this entire list, isn't it? It is going to filter everything there. And when it filters it, what is it that it's going to do for us? So the functional is going to filter it for us. Then using the lambda functional is going to map it for us to be able to know whether it is an even number or it's an odd number. If it's an even number, because no, we're not taking odd, because we just want it to filter only the even numbers. So let's run it. You see, when it filters it, it gives us a new list, which is 2, 4, 6, because these are only the even numbers. These are the even numbers that we are having inside this particular list. Hope this is clear. It is very simple and easy, right? And it's very, very nice to work with it. Let's move forward. So the next thing we are going to be seeing is using this lambda function, this Python lambda function. We are going to be seeing how we can be able to using this lambda function to do each number in a list. I'm going to be having a list, and in that list, let's say I'm just going to have a list. In that list, what is it that I want to be able to do there? So what I want to do in this particular list, let's say I just took the previous one that we worked on. This is a list that is having, okay, let me just change the variable name so that it shouldn't, let's say list 1. This is just a list that we are having. It's having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 numbers that we are having inside. These are the values we have inside this particular list. Right. So now what is it that I want to do? We want to be able to double each of the values in this, each of the elements that are inside this particular list. We want to be able to double them. So to do that, we know that the map function, there's a map function that we can use with the lambda function that takes a function and in a list and of as an argument, you get it? And then this function is called with the lambda function, and a new list is returned with all with that contains, yeah, let me put it in this format, that contains all the lambda modified items. Is going to return it. Like, that's the best way I can put it. So now I'm just going to, let's say I'm just going to take and then say list 2. I'm just taking list 2, and this list 2, which is equals to, I'm going to map, I'm going to use that map, the map function, as I said. I'm going to pass this lambda function to it, the lambda function to this map function. So it's going to be taking this particular variable, particular number, whatever the number we are having, which is x. So, and what is it to do? That means each of these numbers is going to check inside this particular list 1. All the numbers that are inside the particular elements inside there, all the values, is going to do what? Is going to multiply it by 2. You get it? It's going to multiply each of them by what? By 2. And then if you multiply it by 2, then it's going to return to us a new list. Is it a new one that is having what? The modified values. Okay. So it's going to be having the modified values. That is what it is going to do. So now let's try to print it and see. Oh, now because I took this is cap lock and it doesn't work, go with define. What happened here? Okay, yeah, that was just nothing. So let's print. So we print now. We are going to print what? The list. We're printing the list, and the list that we are printing is what is contained in this list too, right? The lambda function, how it is going to map it out for us. So let me just do it and then explain. Let me run this piece of code. I run the program, then I explain it again. So if you see, this is what is happening. So it multiply each of them by 2. So 1 times 1. So you see, it's doing it by 2. So 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 2 is 6. 4 times 2 is, you see, this is the expression. This is the expression that we are multiplying. 4 times 2 is 8. Look at the output. And then next one is 5. 5 times 2 is 10. 6 times 2 is 12. And 7 times 2 is 14. You can see, right? So this lambda function double each of these numbers. The map function iterates this map function like this. This map function, it iterates what? It iterates through and applies for the transformation using the lambda function and the reduce function. You get it? So another thing that we can be able to see how this can go is you can use what the reduce function in Python that takes in a function and a list as an argument. So this function is called when the lambda function and also what is an iterable, and a new reduce function is return. You get it? So that one was a new modified function with a map function. With the reduce function is a new reduce function that is going to be returned. Okay. Hope this is clear and I've explained a lot. Okay, the next one we are having is to find the product of all the numbers in a list. Now, for doing that, we're just going to say from func tools import reduce. This is just a package we are importing from Python library. So now this is where we are. The code is starting. So I'm having L1. It's just a variable name. That's just a list. I'm declaring a particular list. I say 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a list. They want to use the reduce function because I told you about the reduce function, right? So now then we have what? So what am I going to do here? Means that I'm going to say reduce lambda. I'm passing this lambda expression and everything function that I want to reduce for this particular list. And then I'm printing the L2, which is holding the lambda function. So what is this thing going to do? So the lambda multiplies 2 numbers at a time. That is what it does. Because here I've given that the variables, the numbers are x and y. It means there are 2 numbers. So for example now, 1 times 2, it multiplies 2 numbers at a time. So 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6, and 6 times 4 is how many is 24, isn't it? That is how it's going to give us. Then we are printing what the L2. That is what we are having. Let's run the code and see. That is it, 24. Can you see? So that is how it does. It takes it and then it runs and multiply it all at the same time for us to be able to have the output. That is what this particular lambda does. So it is very, very easy, right, for us to be able to see. And as I said, the lambda function is different from that. And guys, if you have been watching up to this time and you haven't liked this video, what are you still waiting for? You should have liked the video, right? So click on the like button, to like it, to build the algorithm of this channel, and then share with others, share on your social media platforms, subscribe to the channel by hitting that subscribe button. And then when you hit it, you can press that arrow and click on all so that you get notified whenever we upload new videos. You get it? For you to be able to understand how it works. So for us to be able to work, we have seen the difference. We understand what is a lambda function from even a normal function. Because we first saw what is the function, normal function that we understood. So we have seen the lambda function. So now we are going to see some question and answers that are very important in this particular. Okay. So these are some of the bonus questions we have come into since we have already understood how the Python have given different scenarios in which you can be able to use the lambda function in Python to be able to work with it, right? So now these are some questions that common questions that you can find in your interview. I can find them also to help you to understand better this lambda function in Python. So the first question is, what is the use of the function in Python? You should be able to understand if you're using this, why are you using it? So the lambda function provides a concise way of what to create small anonymous functions. Because we say this is when we want to create anonymous functions. We say Python function is just anonymous functions, right? Functions you don't want to specify the names, all those stuff things. So without needing to define a formal function using the def keyword, because a normal function in Python is using the def keyword that we already saw when we're dealing with functions in Python, right? So they are practically useful in situations where a small function is needed temporarily or where the function definition is straightforward and can be expressed in a single line. So can you see when we can be able to use this lambda function? Yes, these are scenarios in which you can be able to use the lambda function. And then now, the question is, what is the difference between the def and the lambda in Python? Because we know very well that the def keyword, it is used when we are defining a normal function in Python, and while the lambda keyword is used when we are defining a lambda function and anonymous function in Python. So the main difference between the def and the lambda functions are this. The first thing is the syntax. For the lambda function, they are written with the lambda keyword. When you're writing lambda function, the lambda is written with the keyword directly. You get it? Followed by parentheses and an expression, isn't it? While with the def functions, which is a normal function, you have what a full function header, body, and contains multiple statements. We have seen that, and we already know. So I've seen both of them, and we know it's true. And then for the return, the lambda function implicitly returns the result of the evaluated expression or the evaluated expression. Means the expression that is evaluated, that is how it is going to return the result, isn't it? Why for the def function we use an explicit return statement. So that's the difference between the two. And then coming to the scope. So with the lambda function, they are limited to a single expression. I explained this before, right, when we were working. But making them more restricted than the def function, which can contain multiple statements and have more complex logic, which is something that is very, very beautiful because that is what we want to use it for. The next one is, what's the functionality of the lambda? So the functionality of lambda function in Python is to create small anonymous functions on the fly. You can just use them temporarily, create it on the fly to work with. So they are often used in situations where creating a full-fledged function using the def would be overkill. You get it, means that it's too much. Or where a function is needed for a short period and doesn't need a name. You can just go with your lambda function, which is so beautiful to work with it at a time. And when to use the lambda function that's the fourth question. The lambda function are suitable for simple operations. That is, I've already explained. When you need to perform a simple operations or calculations, it is used for what? Anonymous functions. When you need need a function temporarily or in a place and don't want to do what to define a main function using the def keyword, isn't it? Exactly. So we have functional programming. So when working with functions as first-class citizens, such as the map, filter, or sorted functions, you get it, where a function is passed as an argument. We have already seen the map and the filter, right? We saw the map, the filter, the reduce. All this one, we saw it in the examples I explained just few minutes ago. We saw those ones there. So the last one we are having, which is a fifth question, is what is the key lambda in Python? Sorry, what is key lambda in Python? So the key parameter in Python function, like the sorted or the marks, allows specifying a function to be used for custom sorting or comparison. So lambda function are often used here to define a key based on which the sorting or comparison is performed. For example, let's try to see the example here. We know we talk about the key when we're dealing with dictionary. You remember when I explained the dictionary, we're dealing about the various data types, the dictionary, the complex data type, isn't it? We saw about the key and the value, key pair value, isn't it? This is the situation. Now we have an example here with a sorted function with a lambda function to sort a list of tuples based on a second element. So I just defined the variable that is called data. That data is holding three different and this is elements which are having their key and the value. So one is the key, the value is apple. Three is the key, the value is banana. Two is the key, the value is orange. Now, what is going to happen? We say sorted data, so I'm sorting it. The next line, which is sorted, I say the data, I'm given the key, then the lambda, which means that whatever the value you're given there, and the key height is holding. So if I print the sorted data, the output is going to give me one apple, three banana, and two orange. So I hope this is clear. These questions I've compiled for you to help you to better understand the lambda function again. So I'll see you in the part 11 of this. And guys, get ready because we are entering the projects very soon. Very soon we are entering the projects because we're almost coming to an end of this our Python full course. So make sure you have not watched this, watch it from part 1 to go through to come. You can look inside you're going to have. And also, make sure to like as you're watching it. Keep a like in this video to build the algorithm, and comment in the comment section, guys. Most of you watch, you don't even comment just to tell something. Even a thank you is really encouraging, right? Yeah, and then share with others, share with others and help your friends to subscribe to the channel, to build, let's build the channel, let's gain the knowledge. We're going to run the project. Tell me about your experience in the comment section, how you're working. Are you able to do it? If you're not able to, get to me. You can just get to me and I'm going to get back to you. Thank you so much and see you in the part 9 of this particular Python full course. Bye-bye.